Hi, my name is Terry Westwell and welcome back to Panic at the Book Club. This week we'll be discussing No One Saw a Thing by Andrea Mara. It's the same as usual. If you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going and doing that first because there'll definitely be spoilers. Also, if this book's not for you, don't forget I do list the next 4 books and the discussion dates down below, so you can choose which one best suits you. No One Saw a Thing is about a missing child. Is she simply lost or was she taken? Sive, Aaron, and their 3 children visit London from Ireland when one day, trying to board a busy tube train, Sive loses her 2 daughters. Although Bay is found super quickly, Faye is absolutely nowhere to be found, sending both parents into their worst nightmare. Usually when you've got so many characters and multiple timelines going on, books can seem really tiresome and really difficult to follow, but surprisingly, that wasn't the case with this book. Instead, it just helped build suspense as you compile this suspect list in your head as you gain more and more information. And with everyone lying, there's certainly a good pool of suspects. It was still really easy to distinguish between each character, and even though there was a lot of information going on, you could still connect with those main characters and really feel for what it was they were going through. I think despite there being so much room for the possibility of things to go wrong with this book, it was still really easy to read, really enjoyable, and overall it was just really well written. I felt so bad for Sive. My issue was I couldn't possibly imagine what it would feel like to go through something like that. But as the story went on, I just felt worse for her. This lady goes through a lot. I honestly think she does a really good job of not blaming herself too much, because I do imagine that in this situation it would be really easy to fall in this spiral of self-blame. With everything going on, I think she does a pretty good job on not losing her shit more than she does. Like when Aaron hesitates to make that video, I get that it turned out to be a fake and all, but if it meant any chance on getting your daughter back, then just shut the up and do it. I did always feel that where Aaron was concerned, Sive was really naive. Like, I do get trusting your partner and wanting to believe what your partner tells you, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't use your brain. Like, at times it was super obvious that Aaron was being sketchy, and perhaps Sive was just choosing her battles, but I just feel like sometimes she was a bit quick to let things slide. Also, maybe I'm just not as mature as Sive, but I had a real problem with that personal assistant issue. Like, nah, it's not your personal assistant's job to buy my bloody birthday presents. Like, I'm not married to your personal assistant. When it comes to gifts, isn't it the thought that counts? And Aaron didn't put a single thought into that gift. I would have been pissed. I mean, I get that she's got bigger things to worry about in this time, but I'm not quite sure I would have been able to let that slide. From the very beginning, I knew that Aaron was sketchy, and I knew that Sive deserved better. She didn't quite realise how sketchy he was. Like, it's not even really the fire or the blackmailing that I found the sketchiest. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously none of those things are great, but I just manipulating things so someone goes to prison for longer just so that you can date someone you don't even really know. It's just a little sketchy. Scythe was definitely better off without him, although I wasn't really expecting him to meet his final end, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, I certainly didn't think that Maggie would have it in her, like. So it's those quiet ones you need to look out for. I really didn't expect the ending with Dave, but I was really surprised with Maggie. I thought her sketchy behaviour was just going to be innocent and that she really did help Faye in the end. And I suppose she did, but her sketchy behaviour was not innocent. I was just really surprised by her level of involvement. Like the scene where Dave's decision went from kidnapping to murder was really cold. Like, you could really feel Maggie's panic as her friend crossed yet another line. But in the end, I suppose so did she. I just think this scene was beautifully written. You could understand and feel Maggie's frustrations and anger towards Aaron, and she felt that he needed to suffer. But she'd grown this friendship with Scythe and knew that the child and Scythe didn't need to be punished and shouldn't be punished for this. You know, they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't deserve what Dave was planning. She just wanted to scare him a little. I said just. You should never kidnap someone's child. That should go without saying. Maggie's last minute plan on how she was going to get away with her part of the kidnapping was actually pretty clever, especially considering she had to come up with it last second under duress. It did work for her in the end, for the most part. To be honest, most of Aaron's friends didn't really seem like very good people or friends, so I'm really glad in the end that Scythe managed to find a real friend, even if it did come from somewhere that you didn't quite expect. I really did enjoy this book, and although I wasn't too engrossed at the beginning, as more information was revealed and as it started to really amp up, I got more and more stuck in. You could practically feel a clock ticking as more and more clues were revealed. It was a really easy read and really gripping at the same time, and it was totally different from any of the other books that we've read so far in book club. It was a very well plotted mystery with so many twists and turns and many, many frustrations. Would I recommend this to other people? I think definitely. It was very well paced, it was very well written, and although it had some very unrealistic or unlikely elements to the story, it played on some very real and very true fears that people have. I can see why for some people, perhaps people who have children, it may be a little bit more suspenseful because obviously the book would be a lot more relatable, it would play a lot more on those fears. Shelley said it was a great book, with short chapters making it easy to read and so many twists and turns keeping you interested. She loved how the chapters took you from present to past, feeding you bits of information as the story needed, and she certainly wasn't expecting that ending either. I agree. You know I love a short chapter. And as for going from past to present, I really enjoyed getting the snippets of information, feeling like a little detective myself as I tried to piece together the clues to find out who the suspect was. So next week, discussing It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And don't forget to get your comments and thoughts in by the 10th of July at the latest so you can be a part of the discussion. You can do this either on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. So the following week we'll be discussing The Night of the Party by Anna Lou Weatherley. And just a reminder, if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, I do now list the next 4 books and the discussion dates below so that you can choose which one best suits you. On that note, thank you for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Bye!